Good day, this is Alan from Man at YouTube, doing a little something different, a airbrushing tutorial on Russian World War II armor in 72nd scale. I'll be using this Atelier KV1 and will depict the box art color scheme. Armor is a lot easier to paint compared to gunpla due to being in one bulk piece. Larger scales, you would paint the wheels individually and stick them on later with the tracks. The smaller ones, you can get away with painting it in a single unit, still handle it with your hands, and hand paint the tracks later. As always, we prime to get colour consistency and good gripping of the paint. Spray or airbrush is both equally acceptable. Followed by a white top coat using the Mr. Hobby spray can. Remembering to shake the can for 2 minutes, do this in a well ventilated area and paint in sweeps. Allow the undercoat 24 hours to dry. I'll be using the new 2mm AirTech airbrush. It's pull apartable and easy to maintain, though this can still be obtained through a 3mm cheaper airbrush. First, I'm going to create a weathering undertone by lightly sweeping some paint underneath and on a 45-degree angle from that to the sides to give a little gunk around the wheels and under detail. Next, after the yellow has dried, I'm going to spray fine lines around the body, depicting very similar pattern style to the reference material on the back of the box. It doesn't have to be too faded or whatever. The lines can be quite sharp, as we're going to do a post shade of white over everything. When freehanding patterns or lines, you have to be fairly careful, as any mistake and you have to start all over again with a fresh base coat. So make sure you're constantly testing your brush on a surface to prevent any mistakes or water splattering or whatnot. Again, once dried, slightly dust on very heavily thinned down white paint from afar and slowly watch the build up until you're fairly happy with the amount of shading you have or the consistency of the camouflage. I'm spraying from the top and side angle to keep that undertone weathering that I developed previously. With a nice result so far, we're up to the most difficult point. At this stage, I want to do similar to what I did previously in freehanding the camouflage, but colouring in the centre part of the green blobs to give a gradient effect of a soft camouflage pattern. We want to be absolutely sure that our airbrush is capable of doing fine lines, as that's all we're doing on the inner part of the green for this effect. So constantly test in between patterns or formations not to cause any mistakes. Any big screw ups at this point, and it's definitely starting at scratch with a new base coat. At the same time, don't be afraid of this warning or being too scared to attempt a paint job like this. It is very rewarding if you're willing to be patient and take your time to do the right things in the right layers. And we're done airbrushing. Mind you, the soft edge camouflage scheme is completely finished, but the rest of this model is not. Chuck a couple of clear coats to protect your hard-earned work, and we're going to get into decaling and weathering. This phase is meant to be the fun part of the armor modelling. You get to experiment in all sorts of pigment weathering, dry brushing, inking, oils and whatnot. Lots of homework can be done in the type of weathering done on tanks. This isn't the video for this, but there's a lot of material out there in books and videos. Personally, I used a black acrylic wash, followed by some dry brushing on the tank tracks with iron, and a touch of pigment weathering. After the final top coat and satin varnish, we're finished and ready to display. This was a fun and easy build, but not a standalone model to display. If you remember in one of the shots showing the underneath, there was a large circular piece and that was a magnet. This is a item to a diorama, which I will do a review much later. I haven't done a lot of research in soft camouflage patterns, and notice in some tutorials it's a straight flat out freehand job, mostly on the German aircrafts, which is completely suitable. But having a bit of a think when I bought this kit, this is the path I chose to do. I don't claim to be an expert on military modelling, as this isn't my main genre, though had a lot of success and am extremely pleased with this finish. I feel that this looks quite nice and would definitely fare okay in a out-of-the-box modelling competition. Obviously, using these techniques on a larger surface or a much larger model kit such as 35th, you'll have a lot more ease in painting it properly and less mistakes caused. This was definitely a fantastic experiment, and I'd like to carry this technique along to gunpowder modelling and try this on a few Xeon suits. Thank you for watching, and until next time, hope this video was helpful to anyone out there, and of course, keep experimenting and trying new things. You don't know where this hobby will take you.